Good afternoon. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday. I don't know about you, but I'm really glad it's the bank holiday. I really need the rest. So I've delivered some lessons in the rules of speaking in a posh accent or heightened received pronunciation, and I'm sure I shall do a lot more of those. In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about how to develop and practice your accent. So one of the things you're going to need to do is to actually hear people with very posh accents speaking. And the easiest way to do that is through film and television. So I've got some recommendations of things that you should be watching. So the first on those is obviously going to be The Crown series on Netflix. Absolutely wonderfully made and well written program. It's about the royal family, so if you watch it, you're going to hear an awful lot of posh accents. One of the things that was the biggest influence on my own accent is classic Doctor Who. So if you're somebody who enjoys science fiction, you should certainly be watching classic Doctor Who. Don't bother with the new series because hardly anybody in that speaks in a posh accent. However, the first seven Doctors, apart from Sylvester McCoy, the seventh Doctor, who had a Scottish accent, they all sound posh. I suppose Peter Davison, the fifth Doctor, his accent isn't terribly refined. I'm not sure that he always necessarily follows the rules of heightened received pronunciation, but William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Colin Baker, they all have really good RP accents. And also, a lot of their companions and supporting cast speak in heightened received pronunciation. So, if you like science fiction, watch Doctor Who. I've heard some people suggest Downton Abbey as a program that has good RP to listen to. I've never watched Downton Abbey except maybe a few clips of it myself, so I can't really comment on whether Downton Abbey has good RP. I've heard some people say that it's not so great. I've heard some people observe that some of the younger members of the cast playing upper class characters use glottal stops in their speech and other contemporary modes of speech. So I don't know whether that's the case because I've not watched it, but take that into account. Other people also questioned whether the dichotomy in accents in Downton Abbey would be true to real life. So, in Downton Abbey, the upper class characters sound very posh, and the servant characters speak in provincial accents. But would it have been like that in real life? Is it perhaps more likely that the servants would try to copy and emulate the speech of their masters? Possibly. Some people have suggested Benedict Cumberbatch as being somebody to watch. That really depends upon which movie or character he's playing. As I've mentioned before, in real life, Benedict Cumberbatch sometimes uses some quite modern and contemporary modes of speech and doesn't always follow traditional received pronunciation. But one film in which he does sound very posh is The Courier, a spy film set in the Cold War based on a true story. I watched it on Netflix. Quite a good film. And some of the other members of the cast also speak in RP accents. So I'd give The Courier a try, especially if you like spy movies. One spy series that wasn't so impressive was called Traitors. I mentioned it before in a previous video. It was a spy show that I saw on Netflix. The main character was a young woman in the 1940s from an aristocratic family, and the actress playing her really didn't use proper traditional received pronunciation. She certainly sounded like somebody who would be considered to be well educated and well brought up today, very middle class sounding, but she certainly didn't sound like an upper class person from the 1940s, which is strange because they commented on accents in that. There was an episode where this young woman, she says that somebody probably isn't really upper class because he says opera rather than opera. Um, so yeah, okay, so she might know that bit, but otherwise her speech wasn't terribly good RP. So that comment didn't quite feel right. Basically, you should watch as much old British television or movies as you can from the 1950s, 60s, or 70s. You're bound to hear quite a lot of posh accents if you watch any old television in the UK. If you like comedy, you'll probably hear some posh accents if you watch Monty Python's Flying Circus. The Good Life, that's an easy to watch sitcom from the 70s. All four of the characters, to varying degrees, use received pronunciation in their speech. But you particularly want to watch the character Margot, played by Penelope Keith, who has a very rich, heightened received pronunciation accent. So The Good Life, that's something to watch. Of course, we are on YouTube, so you have an entire library of people speaking. So on YouTube, you can watch speeches by members of the royal family. You can also watch interviews of celebrities and clips of their programs. So particular people to watch: Christopher Lee, wonderful actor with such an incredible acting career. He's got a lovely, deep RP accent. So find some interviews of Christopher Lee, who's sadly no longer with us. Also Joanna Lumley, a wonderful actress with such a lovely voice. One of the most popular voices in the country, according to a survey they did a few years ago. She was in the programme Absolutely Fabulous with her co-star Jennifer Saunders. Both characters that they played spoke in RP accents, so Absolutely Fabulous is something to watch. You should probably watch clips of David Attenborough, his wildlife programmes. Some old clips of the late Sir Patrick Moore, the astronomer. Very incredible voice. So have a look for some of those. Again, classic British television, the Jeeves and Wooster series, based on P.G. Woodhouse's stories, with Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie as Jeeves and Wooster. That's got a lot of upper class characters in it. And again, with P.G. Woodhouse, you've got the Blandings Castle series with Jennifer Saunders in. I think I'd recommend reading P.G. Woodhouse's books and stories. Obviously, if you're reading, you're not going to hear anybody speaking in an RP accent, but reading P.G. Woodhouse will give you a good feel for the speech of upper class people and the kind of upper class culture behind the RP accent. So do have a look at P.G. Woodhouse's stuff. Okay. Once you're familiar with the rules of speaking in heightened received pronunciation, what I would suggest you do to practice would be to find a bit of text in a book or a magazine, and to read it. But imagine it's being read by somebody you know with a really posh voice, like say Joanna Lumley or David Attenborough. Imagine how the text would sound if they were reading it. And then after you've done that, to read it yourself in your own voice, trying to imitate their received pronunciation. I think that will really help you develop your accent. Okay, thanks ever so much for listening to me today. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and if you're in England, enjoy your bank holiday. Bye-bye.